A little bit about your two defense. Some of the guys there, your nose guard for one, your defensive end, Ben.
Fletcher?
Yeah,
Ben Fletcher.
Right. Seems to have kind of popped up out of nowhere almost.
No doubt. You know, the 2D line has probably made some of the biggest strides. Andy Jennings started out camp as our two nose guard. Has probably, if not the best, maybe had one of the best camps on our defense. To the point where now he's slid up and is working with the ones as an end. You know, so he is a two nose. You know, pretty close to being as good as Tyler, but probably not going to pass Tyler by the nose. We'll move him up to two, one end. So he's going to slide back and forth. Ben Letcher's been playing end as well. It started out, I think it's probably a 3 or a 4. He used the summertime. You know, he wasn't very flexible. He never focused on flexibility. It was on strength. So he didn't bend his knees and hips real well in the spring. Coach Bose and him, kind of put a plan together in the summertime. And it really helped. It really helped him. He's changing direction better because he's bending his knees and his ankles are more loose. He's always been a physical kid. And so now he's added some athleticism with that. And he runs, man. I mean, if you notice in those scrimmages, it's a pass and he rushes the passer, and that guy tries to cut back, and Ben's made tackles at 4 and 5 yards on the opposite numbers. I mean, he's just got great motor. So, I mean, he's been a great surprise. He's given us depth at a place where I was worried. He's given us a guy I feel comfortable playing now, where in the spring I wouldn't have. So, I feel good about them. Now with Jennings moving up to end, we're playing Maurice Poya do a little bit more at nose. And he's got to continue to get better. He's really young. His strength probably isn't where he wants it to be. He's got the size, and he's got some decent athleticism, but I don't know if he's strong enough yet. He's got to keep working on that. So you're going to see some different combinations in there. Guys that are twos might play at the ones, and you see us getting a nickel, and that's changing that depth chart too.
Yeah, you kind of knew you were going to have to maybe move pieces around on the one front.
Well, and you've seen it with Tristan Akpalago.
Yeah.
I mean, he's playing all over. You saw him today, field outside linebacker, right? So he's playing field, he's playing boundary, he's playing D-end. We're going to have to do some stuff like that,
Yeah. It's, we've talked about the size of the ends since day one.
Yeah.
A guy like Ben and Tristan, how are they able to survive there?
Well, we move, man. We don't stand still. It's a benefit of our front, and it can be a negative, is that we're always going to get going. They're not going to be standing still. They shouldn't know. The offense shouldn't be able to guarantee that there's a double team there because they're not shaded. They might come inside, they might come outside. But we've got to move them. There's no way we can stand some of those guys in there. Now, some of those other guys, A-Dub and Tyler Davison when he plays in, and Andy Jennings, and even Nico Mata, they've got some size. We're okay there. But when we start moving Tristan in there and playing Ben Letcher and Donovan Lewis, we got to move them. That's the only way to do it. Right. And, I think that's been the knock, potentially on the 4-3 scheme when they have those small ends, they don't move them enough. We're not going to make that mistake right now. Well, I'm going to try not to. See if I mess that up. We're going to try not to.
Yeah. It's someone's going to have to give you some snaps there.
Yeah.
So.
Yep. Well, and, I've been really happy with the way when we go game situation, we're playing games. Our substitution pattern's working out well with us rotating those guys. It's getting to the point where the guys that I need to get reps off the field and they need to take a break, it's happening. It might be only 3 or 4, but the way we can mix those personnel groups, and now that we're playing noses as ends as well, I feel good at the mix. I don't think that we got to play 10 guys. I think we can get by with playing what we got and maybe not be 10 deep this year. We got to recruit because there's no way that, longevity-wise, you want more big butts in there.
Right.
But right now, I think we're going to be okay.
Yeah.
We don't, the other thing is we don't play many teams that line up in 2 backs and 2 tight ends for the duration of the game.
Right.
A lot of people like this throw the ball around stuff. And that helps us. And that's going to help us.
Yeah. When you talk about the traveling number, though, up front.
Great question. I don't know. I'd like to say 9, but realistically, I probably won't have that many.
Yeah.
Probably won't have that many. Yeah, somewhere less than 9.
Really? Less than that?
Somewhere less than 9. I'll say that. Somewhere less than 9. Some of it's going to be how many outside linebackers we travel.
Yeah.
Because you look at that number and you could be saying, well, there could be 7 or 8. You know what I mean? There could be 7 or 8 outside linebackers. So that mixes in with some of our nickel stuff too. There's times that right now we could be playing 3 outside linebackers on the field at one time. So, if you're playing 3 at one time, you start rotating, and all of a sudden you played 6. So you got to, we might have 7 or 8 outside linebackers. So, we got about another 4 days to figure out before who I think is going to travel.
Right. Okay. Last thing, Toma missing a few days. Is that?
Well, he missed today. I don't know what's going to happen. Luckily, we don't have practice tomorrow. And we come back on Monday going. I don't think it's a serious deal by any stretch. Obviously I don't want my best, inside guy. not out there. If there's a guy that thinks going to come back in a hurry, it'll be him. However, if there's anybody that can take time off and still be pretty good, it'll be Jeremiah Toth.
Yeah.
And it's great for Kyrie Wilson to be getting those reps. You saw eBay Naduka in there.
Right.
You know, those guys need those reps. So if Toma's not back on Monday, you know, my heart's not going to be broken. As long as he's back on Wednesday, I'll be okay. So Wednesday's the day. If Wednesday's the day, I want to see it go.
Right.
I'm going to give ourselves Monday and Tuesday, and then Wednesday, you know, I want to be where we want to be on Wednesday. I want to be right there. I want to be perfect on Wednesday.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. Is he a foot or ankle?
You know what? Something in his foot. You know, I think they said he sprained something. And it wasn't serious. They strapped him in a boot last night. He finished the scrimmage with it.
Right.
He did it in the scrimmage and played the rest of it. So I don't think it's serious. They x-rayed him, and I think he's fine. And if he's not fine, I'm sure he'll play anyway. You know that kid.
Absolutely. All right. Good deal.
Hey, man.